Namaskar. Welcome to Vision of Asia, Voice of Community on ITV Gold. I'm Ashok Vyas. In this special edition of Vision of Asia, we will begin with this week with Padma Shri Dr. Sudhir Parikh, celebration of Bharatiya Janata Party's victory in New Jersey at Royal Albert Palace, Holi Ke Rasiya event to mark Holi at Vaishnava Temple of New York, and world premiered the colorful Holi song produced by ITV Gold, Color Laga Do. There was another celebration of BJP victory in Queens. We will have a report on that, as well as excerpts from conversation with the team of the Kashmir Files, the movie that is emerging as a movement, not only doing very well on the box office, but also resonating with the raw emotions of many people, resulting into a sound of sobs and tears in many theaters. So all this coming up right after these short messages. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Vision of Asia, Voice of Community. It is always a source of joy and enriching experience to interact in open and insightful manner. In this context, we have special edition of this week with Padma Shri Dr. Sudhir Parikh. Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas, and I have the pleasure of welcoming Padma Shri Dr. Sudhir Parikh for this week's special edition. Namaste, Dr.
Namaskar.
So there is so much that happens, and especially post-COVID, while the world is opening up. Let us open our conversation today with the movie that we have seen 2 months ago in New Jersey, and that has become the center of conversations in India on news channels as well as in Parliament. So talk to me about your impressions of the movie, The Kashmir File.
Well, I mean, we had a privilege to interview the director and writer of the movie, Vivek Agnihotri, his wife Payal Joshi, who acted in the movie, Pallavi Joshi, as well as Mithun Chakravarti, the main actor of the movie. And we had almost 1 hour of discussion here about the movie, why the movie was done, what inspired them to do it. And I think it was really very gutsy thing to do on part of the Vivek Agnihotri and Pallavi Joshi, because it's not easy to go back to original places and recreate the whole history of what happened to the Pandits. And it was very tragic events. I mean, if you really are soft-hearted, then you may not able to even see whole movie. That much tragedy was there. But I think it's very important to remind people that there were a group of the people called Pandits in the Kashmir. That's their home for generation, and their livelihood from generation to come. And they were kind of kicked out without any of their own fault. And unfortunately, the government of the day at that time could not do much about it. And that's a very sad news,
Absolutely. And what you just said is also connecting with people in India. So there are people chanting slogans, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata Ki Jai, as well as you are aware, these were fundamental Islamists, and these were people whom Kashmiri Hindus had known for years. They were living together. Now, one question that is being raised is it going to open wounds which are now buried past 32 years? How do you see this argument opposing the movie?
Well, I mean, it can open the wound. I mean, that there is some validity to that point, but you cannot forget the history, and you must remind the history. History is a place, I mean, where you can get all your education in the life. So you have to show the history to the next generation or even present generation to make sure that this thing does not happen again. And that's the whole idea. For example, Holocaust. Why we Jewish people are keep repeating Holocaust story? Because they want to make sure it doesn't happen again. Same thing. Even if it creates little short term some boomerang or some negative reaction, but again, it should be done because I think to show the history or keep the history alive is always a good thing to happen in anybody's life because we all learn from our mistakes in the history.
Absolutely true. And what this film is doing is working as a movement. It's kind of an awakening. So while Vivek Agnihotri and Pallavi Joshi and the producer Abhishek Agrawal went and met Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Prime Minister Modi also appreciated his courage and efforts. And there was a reference in Parliament also regarding the movie.
Yes. It's a very gutsy thing to do this kind of movie because it's not easy to recreate the original scene and which were really very tragic scenes. So I think definitely it is.
Forward towards the results which resulted into a lot of celebration in India as well as here, and you also participated in one BJP victory celebration here in New Jersey. In the era of social media, anything that has happened in the morning, by evening looks like it happened many days ago. So it's not even a week, but the UP results came, and earlier we were talking about what is likely to be the outcome. So how did you feel about
I think it's a good victory for BJP, and I think it's well-deserved victory for BJP. And this is not only victory for really BJP or only Prime Minister Narendra Modi, but it's victory for development, is a victory for infrastructure development, victory for economical development, and victory of the uplifting of the poorest of the poor by giving them ration and make sure that they get enough food to eat during the COVID pandemic. And that's a victory for all these things.
Absolutely, and it also proves that the Modi brand is intact.
Yes, there is no doubt about it. Modi brand is intact in today's India and probably will remain intact for a long time to come.
And out of 5 states, of course, Punjab went to Aam Aadmi Party, will go there, but Manipur, Goa, Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh for BJP, and Congress had to face a very embarrassing defeat. And in the reflection gathering or meeting of Congress leaders, Sonia Gandhi has sacked all the Pradesh Congress presidents. How do you look at this step?
Well, I think, of course, that's their internal matter and procedures, but they have to do something. They have to revamp the Congress because if they want to be relevant in the future, they must revamp the Congress. They must make sure that they should know how to get the person who believes in Congress from home to the booth to vote. Because at the end of the day, in democracy, unless you win the election, you are irrelevant.
Talking about relevance of Gandhi Parivar, and while Kapil Sibal mentioned that we have to reflect and see that we move from a Ghar Ki party to Sab Ki party, something like that, for which he is criticized by Congress and said that he is using the language of RSS and BJP, which kind of tells us that there is no place of open thinking as far as leadership of Gandhi family in Congress is concerned. and people see that as a potential threat for the existence of Congress. How do you see it?
Well, it's not only a potential threat for existence of the Congress itself, but is a potential threat of the even existence of democracy. Because in democracy, I mean, even though current administration is very strong and powerful, but in order to run the country correct way, there has to be opposition. There has to be ideas from the opposition, because always everyone has some good ideas, and by collectively, if you collect those ideas and then you, being a strong government, if you implement their ideas, which BJP can do that, so that's good for country. So I think opposition in any democracy is must. We hope that not Congress, then somebody else, but there has to be strong opposition.
That is absolutely true. And staying with Congress and what you said, that there should be good ideas from the opposition side. On that front, probably whatever you have heard in last few years, or even from Rahul Gandhi, doesn't tell you that there is a positive way of appreciating and coming out with constructive criticism. And continuing with Congress and the step which was initiated by Rahul Gandhi and appointing Navjot Singh Sidhu as the president of Punjab has also backfired. And
yeah, it's a poor judgment. It's proved to be a very poor judgment on the part of the Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka.
So, last question related to Congress. Looks like the question that Gandhi family should consider stepping aside and giving others a chance is not likely to happen in near future.
Probably not, because it looks like even though looks like a majority of the insider of so-called insider in the Congress, still they are favoring Gandhi family, and that's why probably it is unlikely that it can happen. But if it doesn't happen, the revamping doesn't happen, then I think it lost for the Congress and lost to the Congress.
And now a few things which kind of caught everybody's attention just before election. One of them was hijab. Now Karnataka High Court's verdict says that hijab is not an essential religious practice of Islam, and the state government's order to ban it from the classrooms is upheld by the court. So your response to this?
I think High Court is correct, because hijab is not really the religious kind of what do you call things to do for Muslim population. So I think every institute has right to dictate what kind of dress code they should have. And sometimes dress code, at least up in the high school, up to middle school, high school, is always welcome, because that way there is no difference between the rich and poor, person with the haves and not haves. And that was the whole idea behind having the uniform dress code. And that can be continued even in the college if you want to. But again, of course, there is another argument there that some poor family may not afford to wear the dress.
So there's another side. So one, of course, is uniform, which kind of makes it all uniform for all the students. But another thing is, and very briefly, we look at the current scenario between Russia and Ukraine. Few developments includes Ukraine agreeing that it will not pursue becoming a member of NATO. So that was the basic issue with which I think the war started. But now there have been a pile of many more related issues. Now NATO forces are there, and Russia dropped missiles near Polish border, etc. So how do you see, are we closer to the finishing line of this war?
Well, I personally hope and pray that we are closer to the finishing line of the end of the war, because this is also again a very injustifiable war. Because Ukraine people there is no fault of people of the Ukraine that Russia came and slaughtered them or made them refugee and all sorts of things. So I think it should and hope that it should end soon. And I have feeling that probably both the party wants to end now because it's going on too long. Russia never estimated that Ukraine will put up this kind of fight, and they thought that within less than a week they can capture the capital, get rid of current president, and end of the story. But it didn't happen that way.
Correct.
And that shows that their calculation was wrong. And whole Western countries, they got together and put such a harsh economical sanction, which right now is hurting Russia and isolating Russia. So I think let's see. Both party, I think, indirectly looking for some face-saving way out.
Absolutely, and we hope that happens soon. And it is hurting even consumers here in United States and several other countries. But to conclude today's this week with Padma Shri Dr. Sudhir Parikh, your final words.
Well, dear friends, thanks for joining us this week. From the Kashmir file story, we must remember that history is very important. We all must remember history, our own history, or our country's history, or our world history, because from the history we all learn, and from the mistake of the past, we can correct ourselves. Number two, in India, the BJP won 4 out of 5 states, and I think they are well deserved. And people spoke, and you can see that in democracy, people has power and they know how to vote. And the last thing is Ukraine-Russia war. We hope it ends soon. We pray that it ends soon because it's unnecessary destruction, damage, and destruction of the whole countries economically and socially. So let's pray for end of the war. Let's pray for better India, and God bless America, God bless India, God bless Indian American community, and we'll see you next time. Till then, goodbye.
Bharatiya Janata Party, as the polls were predicting, did very well in Uttar Pradesh. It managed to retain its position, superseding from Samajwadi Party, expecting Yogi Adityanath ji to become second chief minister, was in the hearts of many people, and they were very happy. Some of them are here in America. So people got together, Indian American community member mounted an important event to celebrate BJP victory at Royal Albert Palace in New Jersey. Many dignitaries were present. That included Chairman of ITV Gold and Parikh Worldwide Media, Padma Shri Dr. Sudhir Parikh. Here are some highlights from that event.
माता की भारत माता की भारत माता की Dear friends, today is a very unique day for us, a celebration of the real victory, celebration of our wish fulfilled, and all credit goes to, of course, our beloved Prime Minister Narendra Bhai Modi, Mr. Amit Shah, Yogi ji, and all the BJP workers who work there day and night to make the history to win the UP second time. It never happens. And second time also with the thumping majority. That shows that people loves the work what Prime Minister has and Yogi ji has done in the Uttar Pradesh. Not only Uttar Pradesh, but we won in the Uttarakhand, we won in Manipur, we won in Goa. That shows that the people of the India appreciate the work done by Prime Minister Modi's administration, development, infrastructure, education, and not only that, but in this UP election, I have witnessed a lot of news clip where the people say that of course, everything else is important, but most important that Prime Minister has given me food to eat during the COVID time, and that there what you call that Yojana, which helps poorest of the poor get the food on their table. It's the best thing can happen, and that uplift the large section of the poorest of the poor into the lower middle class. That's Narendra Bhai Modi. So now our work is to continue working what we are doing, supporting Narendra Bhai and his team. And now next stop is Gujarat. Of course, we're going to win there too. And keep kind of calling your friends and family back home and make sure that all they vote for a right party, that is BJP. So again, 3 cheers for Narendra Bhai Modi, Yogi ji, and Amit Shah. So now we have not double engine sarkar, we have triple engine sarkar.
हम जो हिंदुस्तान को प्यार करने वाले और हिंदुत्व को एक करने वाले सभी यहाँ इकट्ठे हुए हैं और ये सब देख के और सुन के बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है। और आज सब एक ही बात करने वाले हैं, तो मैं ज़्यादा बात नहीं करूँगा, ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं लूँगा कि एक चीज़ क्या है कि हमने सब ने ये सब चीज़ देखी है जो भारत को चाहने वाले हैं, और ये आज जो भी है यहाँ पर वो सच्चे चाहने वाले हैं क्या। तो
So first of all, I just wanted to welcome all of you. It's at a very short notice, but please give a big round of applause to Pramod Bhagat ji, Dhiren Bhai and Mr. Jasani for organizing this victory celebration at very last moment. Weather was not giving support, but still they said we'll go ahead and let's do it. So it's basically a victory of people, and it's a victory of people who supported BJP in 4 states out of 5 elections we had, namely right from the hill state in north to the beach state Goa to northeast state and to a state which is along the Ganga river. So the blessings are getting flown to BJP and people of India from all over, and it's also a message or basically a dictate to the world and people of India that what's going to happen in 2024. So this momentum need to continue. Therefore,
Indian diaspora के हमारे मित्रों, brothers and sisters, आज हम सभी लोग यहाँ पर भारत उत्सव मनाने के लिए इकट्ठा हुए हैं। आप लोगों का समर्पण 50 माइल 60 माइल 100 माइल ड्राइव करके मैं इस अपने इंटेलेक्चुअल अपने मित्रों की संख्या अपने दोस्तों अपने भाई बंधुओं का जो देख रहा हूँ यहाँ संख्या देख रहा हूँ, ये सभी लोग बाहर बैड वेदर होते हुए भी आप लोग आए, आप लोग।
Good evening. This is a very special event, very special day for all of us as NRIs to congratulate our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Bhai, our Home Minister Amit Bhai Shah, as well as the Chief Minister Yogi Ji, and all of the BJP's workers dedicated, work very hard for last whole year to achieve unbelievable results of the elections. That is very, very helpful to all of us as NRI as well as for the peoples of India. Saying that the train does not stop here. We all have to work very hard for the future elections, including especially in Gujarat. We need to support as a NRI to all the BJPs, our Prime Minister, our Home Minister, as well as our Chief Minister in Gujarat, Bhupendra Bhai. Let us work all hard for our motherland to support all our people who are working day and night without any personal achievement or any personal interest into the other than serving the country, serving the Home Minister. With that, I also want to congratulate Sudhir Bhai, ITV, who have now remarkable achievement to get exposed into the whole world. So we'll congratulate all of them very well, wish all the best with the Masala Junction as well as ITV and Sudhir Bhai as a friend, as a family friend, and wish all the best for that, and let's hope for the best for the functions to reach today. I thank you, all of you and the viewers. Thank you.
Holi is a source of joy. It reminds us of colors. There are uplifting references rooted in Hindu lineage, which proves how goodness always overcomes that which is evil. We recollect the story of Bhakta Prahlad, Hiranyakashipu, Holika, and there are many references related to the Leelas of Lord Krishna rooted in the festival of Holi also. At Vaishnav Temple of New York, an event titled as Holi Ke Rasiya was organized, which was full of kirtanas dedicated to Lord Krishna, to Holi. Trupti Shah came from Connecticut to be a part of this, and Sharma ji as well as other musicians presented wonderful songs, Holi Ke Rasiya, which tempted devotees to get up and dance with devotion. Here are some highlights.
मृदु मुस्कान लिए अधरन रस मृदु मुस्कान रन रस घूंघट पलट उघार गयोरी बाको संवरिया रंग धार गयोरी रंग धार गयोरी होली खेलन
Victory of Bharatiya Janata Party was expected, and keeping that in mind, Jagdish Sevani in advance planned for an evening on 10th March itself. When results were out, he was ready, and the event was held at the new auditorium created near Shani Mandir in Queens by Sridhar and his wife Rupa. Many members of Indian American community gathered and express their joy and why they feel it is important to see BJP back in power in Uttar Pradesh. Here are some highlights from that event.
नमस्कार, जय हिंद और भारत माता की जय जयकार करने का विशेष अवसर जो न्यूयॉर्क वासियों ने भारत में उत्तर प्रदेश की विजय के साथ जो प्राप्त किया, उसका श्रेय आयोजन की दृष्टि से हमारे जगदीश सेवानी जी को जाता है।
भारत माता की जय, वंदे मातरम, वंदे मातरम। I must thank our dynamic and the world's most popular leader, our Prime Minister Modi. Just to imagine Thank you, Prime Minister Modi. Just imagine what happened. Nowadays the war is going on between Russia and Ukraine, you know that. Our 20,000 students were stuck up in Ukraine. And thanks to our Prime Minister, today, most of them have landed safely in India. Thank you. The credit goes to Prime Minister Modi.
There is no fluke. Modi's motto is very clear. It is not governance, seva and service. We need a dynamic leader to create opportunities. And we have a great nation. We have a great history. And I would like to tell everyone here, my friends, we are the ambassadors of India here.
I could tell by the way you spoke, you
came from your heart. You're very proud people. And the United States of America is proud to have people from India living here. Now, I'm proud to call my friends from India friends, and I call him brother, because we're all the same on the inside. We all believe in the same thing, taking care of our poor, taking care of the most vulnerable members of our community. It does not matter the color of your skin.
We do very well right now, but how many people in this room have government contracts for $200 million highway bids? That's the kind of money that we as taxpayers are entitled to compete for. And I want to make sure through our office that we give everybody every opportunity that's available.
And a nation which is secular, a democracy which takes care of all the minorities.
ये अभूतपूर्व क्षण है हमारे जीवन में जहां इस तरह का कोई नेता उभरता है, न केवल राष्ट्रीय मंच पर बल्कि पूरे अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मंच पर वो छा जाता है। और उसके छा जाने के पीछे जो बात है, जो शक्ति है और जिस तरह का समर्पण है, निश्चलता है, सादगी के साथ साथ माधुर्य को लेते हुए अपने भीतर समाहित रहकर योगी की तरह हिमालय से उतरकर नई दिल्ली के द्वारा जो हम सबके हृदय तक पहुंचे हुए हैं मोदी जी, उनकी कुछ बातों में एक बात ये भी है कि वो किसी एक स्थान या किसी एक बात के साथ बंधे नहीं रहते हैं। वो जिस तरह का विजन लेकर चलते हैं, तो उसमें जैसे ये मुहावरा उतना सुंदर नहीं जगदीश जी, लेकिन कहते हैं हाथी के पीछे कुत्ते भौंकते रहते हैं। तो मैंने किसी को कुत्ता नहीं कहा। समापन की तरफ डबल इंजन सरकार की जो बात वो कह रहे थे, वो भी बड़ी महत्वपूर्ण है, क्योंकि उसमें दोनों की फ्रीक्वेंसी मैच इतना जबरदस्त है कि वो उल्लास से भर देता है, उत्साह से भर देता है, विकास को लेकर आगे जाता है। और डबल इंजन से मैं एक बात, जिस संस्थान के साथ जुड़ा हूँ, तो पद्मश्री डॉक्टर सुधीर पारिक बहुत सक्रिय रूप से भारतीय जनता पार्टी, प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी और जगदीश जी के और इस पूरी सभा के समर्थन में अपनी बात कहते हुए अपनी प्रसन्नता व्यक्त करने के साथ साथ एक डबल खुशी की बात जहां भारत से आई है, वहीं ये भी ITV गोल्ड की तरफ से है कि अब हम स्लिंग पर भी आ गए हैं, मतलब ITV गोल्ड, उनका मतलब ITV गोल्ड। तो वो भी एक बात आप तक पहुंचाते हुए मैं अपनी बात का समापन इस प्रार्थना के साथ करूंगा कि एक बार फिर से भारत माता की जय।
So I think every one of us should really pay attention to where we have come from. Go to your Gurudwara, take your children to Gurudwara, go to temples, go to any temple in your neighborhood, go to temples, talk about the rich culture. Temples are not places just for rituals and just saying that today I have a problem, I go to a temple and it gets solved. No. It's a place where it makes you stronger to be who you are, and it makes you stronger to face what is coming ahead of you.
Like PM Modi seems to be doing in India, Bruce Blakeman is all about uniting the community, making sure that infrastructure and development is on point, and that we're moving forward as a country, you know, as a united community, as a county in our case, as a country in India's case.
जब 2014 से पहले हिंदुस्तान बुरी तरह से परेशान था, मोदी जी का आना हुआ, जैसे रामचंद्र जी की शक्ति लेकर के मोदी जी डिवाइन पावर लेकर के हिंदुस्तान में उतरे हैं।
हमें सबसे बड़ी खुशी इस बात की है कि हमारा देश प्रोग्रेस कर रहा है। हमारा रात दिन ये इच्छा रहती है कि हम जब भारत जाएं तो हमें बड़ी खुशी हो कि हमारा देश दुनिया के सबसे बड़े बड़े देशों में एक है।
You know the old saying, one foot in the wrong direction takes you to the wrong side. India was going in that direction 7-8 years ago, but God is great. He sent Modi ji first, and then he sent Yogi ji. And these two individuals will go, I don't want to use the word go down in the history. I will say they will go up in the history as two individuals who actually changed the direction of India.
And thank God, इसको तो मैं राम की कृपा मानता हूँ actually. There is no other reason. ये ऊपर वाला सब हमको देख रहा है, and believe me, he is taking care of us. There is no other explanation.
पर ये मोदी जी आने के पहले जो हम लोग वारदात सुनते थे कि आने वाले 20-25 साल में भारत शायद ही हिंदू धर्म रहेगा, नहीं रहेगा।
तो जब हम हिंदू धर्म या हिंदू संस्कृति की बात करते हैं, वो वस्तुतः भारतीय संस्कृति की बात है, जिसमें बाहर से कुछ सेक्युलरिज्म आरोपित करने की आवश्यकता नहीं है, क्योंकि वो सर्वग्राह्य है, वसुधैव कुटुंबकम है, सबको साथ लेकर चलती है, और सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास और सबका प्रयास। तो सबका प्रयास भारत में ही नहीं, यहाँ भी हमने देखा है। तो ITV गोल्ड के लिए हमारे चेयरमैन पद्मश्री डॉक्टर सुधीर पारिक जी की तरफ से भी बधाइयाँ इस आयोजन के लिए, और हमारे भारत के प्रधानमंत्री जी को पहुँचाते हुए मैं हमारे कैमरामैन कृपा जी का भी धन्यवाद करते हुए आपका भी धन्यवाद, और जय हिंद,
धन्यवाद,
नमस्कार।
कलर लगा दो, that is the title of a song which is created by the team of ITV Gold, and this colorful holy song was premiered on March 16th. Take a look.
गुलाबी नारंगी लाल, नारंगी लाल नीला हरा, पीला गुलाबी नारंगी लाल, नारंगी लाल नीला हरा।
कलर लगा दो, इसको लगा दो, उसको लगा दो, कलर लगा दो। होली का ये दिन है बबुआ, तुझको पड़ेगा आना, आज चलेगा तेरा कोई भी ना बहाना। कलर लगा दो, इसको लगा दो, उसको लगा दो, दिल की घंटी बजा दे बेल, तेरा मेरा हो गया मेल, चल नटखट तू होली खेल। अंदर आजा खिड़की खोल, प्यार है मुझसे ऐसा बोल, चल बजा दे मिलके ढोल। रंग दे सारी चोली चुनरिया, रंग दे चाचा मामा मुनरिया। कलर लगा दो,
कलर लगा दो,
इसको लगा दो,
इसको लगा दो,
उसको लगा दो,
उसको लगा दो।
होली कब है बाबे? प्यार वाली
कौन?
प्यार वाली
कौन?
प्यार वाली खिड़की से आया रे गुलाल, यार वाली खिड़की से आई पिचकारी। इसको लगा दो, कलर लगा दो, उसको लगा दो, कलर लगा दो, कलर लगा दो,
कलर लगा दो,
इसको लगा दो,
इसको लगा दो,
उसको लगा दो,
उसको लगा दो।
होली है।
The Kashmir Files has not remained just a movie. It has brought stories which were forgotten, stories related to genocide of Kashmiri Hindus 32 years ago in the valley, what happened in that period, how those tragic, barbaric events unfolded, forms the main theme of the Kashmir Files, directed by Vivek Agnihotri, well researched by him, his wife Pallavi Joshi, and the team. It was the idea of Dr. Surinder Kaul here in America, which resulted into Vivek seriously considering to give voice to the plight of the Kashmiri Pandits. How it has touched people and why some people are unhappy, and what Prime Minister Narendra Modi said about the film. Everyone seems to be talking about this film. 2 months ago, when Vivek Agnihotri, Pallavi Joshi, and Mithun Chakravarti were visiting America, they also stopped by at ITV Gold Studio. Here are some excerpts from conversation with the makers themselves.
एक्चुअली आप पूरा अगर इंडियन कल्चर और इंडियन जो फिलॉसफी है वो पूरी तरह से कश्मीर से ड्राइव होती है. जैसे यहाँ पे हार्वर्ड है या सिलिकॉन वैली है जैसे आपकी, तो यूँ समझ लीजिए कश्मीर पहले मिलेनियल की सिलिकॉन वैली थी. पर धीरे धीरे क्या हुआ कि पॉलिटिक्स के कारण पार्टीशन के बाद से अभी तक वहाँ पे जो कुछ भी हुआ है वो एक आम इंसान को भारत में या भारत के बाहर पता नहीं है. लोग कहते हैं कश्मीर एक कॉन्फ्लिक्ट जोन है और भूल जाते हैं. तो इसका 4 साल से रिसर्च करते 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 हमने जो ट्रूथ इसका जो है, लोगों का जो दर्द है, जो वहाँ का रियल प्रॉब्लम है, वाई कश्मीर इज़ सो इंटीग्रल टू ह्यूमैनिटी, वो निकाला. तो फाइल्स की मैं सीरीज़ ही है, ताशकंद फाइल्स हिट हो गई तो मैं ट्रिलॉजी ये बना रहा था. तो इसलिए कि कश्मीर का जो असली सच है, सच्ची कहानी है, वो आपको इस फिल्म से पता चलेगी. नहीं, इसलिए क्या कि मैं चाहता हूँ कि जो कश्मीर का मुद्दा है, देखिए आज जेरूसलम, व्हाट जेरूसलम इज़ टू इज़राइल, एवरीबडी नोज इन अमेरिका. एवरीबडी इन अमेरिका. एक मूवी बनी होटल रुआंडा, तो रुआंडन जेनोसाइड के बारे में सबको पता चल गया. आर्मेनियन जेनोसाइड के बारे में अमेरिका में सबको पता है क्योंकि वो उसके ऊपर मूवी बनी है. इंडिया में आज तक कश्मीर को लेके कोई मूवी नहीं बनी थी और कश्मीर को सब एक कॉन्फ्लिक्ट जोन बोल के छोड़ देते थे. सो आई थॉट कि इसको एक ग्लोबल लेवल पे शुरू यहाँ से किया जाए रिलीज़ के पहले, ताकि जो पॉलिसी मेकर्स हैं यूएसए के, जो यहाँ का इंटेलिजेंसिया है, जो नैरेटिव बिल्डर्स हैं, वो इसको समझें कि इसकी इंपॉर्टेंस क्या है.
This I'll have to take you through a little bit of the research that we had done. In 2019 जब ये हमने मूवी शुरू की थी इस रिसर्च करना, so we of course wanted to connect with a lot of Kashmiri Pandits and understand their stories. Right. So we reached out to the first generation victims and their families. तो 2019 में हम लोग यहाँ पे आए थे and जिस तरह से वॉर ट्रिब्यूनल्स जो किए जाते हैं, लॉन्ग फॉर्मेट इंटरव्यूज़, वैसे कश्मीर को लेके कभी किसी ने किए नहीं थे. इनफैक्ट 2014 से पहले तक कश्मीरी पंडित इशू इतना बड़ा है हमारे देश में, ये बहुत से लोगों को पता भी नहीं था. तो वी कनेक्टेड विद दिस, देयर इज अ ह्यूज कश्मीरी पंडित कम्युनिटी सेटल्ड इन यूएसए. सो वी कनेक्टेड विद देम, वी केम हियर, और जो इंटरव्यूज़ हमने शुरू किए और ऐसी ऐसी दर्दनाक कहानियाँ लोगों की निकली है बाहर, मैं आपको बता नहीं सकती. एवरी डे वी वर कंडक्टिंग 4 to 5 इंटरव्यूज़, और एक भी इंटरव्यू ऐसा नहीं था जिसमें मुझे ऐसा नहीं लगा कि मैं फूट फूट के रो नहीं पड़ूंगी. और जब एट द एंड ऑफ दैट मंथ एंड अ हाफ इतनी स्टोरीज इकट्ठा हो गई हमारे पास, और एकदम से ये मुझे एहसास हुआ इस बात का कि पिछले 30 सालों से इन लोगों को जस्टिस तो बहुत दूर की बात है, जस्टिस तो मिली ही नहीं है, लेकिन किसी ने इनकी कहानी सुनी तक नहीं है. और कश्मीर को हमारी इंडियन फिल्मों में इतना ग्लोरीफाई किया था 60s और 70s में कि हर रोमांटिक गाना कश्मीर में है. हर हीरो हीरोइन चाहते थे कि एक ना एक गाना उनका कश्मीर में हो. लेकिन जैसे ही वहाँ पे कुछ एक्टिविटीज़ इस तरह की शुरू हो गई, सब ने कश्मीर को ऐसे छोड़ दिया जैसे वो भारत का कभी था ही नहीं. तो हमने कहा कि दिस इज़ आवर ड्यूटी. कश्मीरी पंडित क्या भारतीय नहीं है जी? तो अगर ये कहीं ऐसा हादसा कहीं गुजरात में होता है, महाराष्ट्र में, भगवान ना करे, लेकिन ऐसे कहीं किसी और स्टेट में हो, तो क्या हम उन्हें ऐसे ही छोड़ देंगे? तो हमने कश्मीरियों को क्यों छोड़ दिया? तो ये फिल्म बननी चाहिए, और जिस तरह से उन्होंने हमें नरेट किया है वही सारे इंसिडेंट्स इस फिल्म में आने चाहिए. तो ये रिसर्च का हमारा एक पार्ट था, एंड देन ऑफ कोर्स देयर वाज नो टर्निंग बैक, क्योंकि ऐसी कहानी मुझे नहीं लगता पहले किसी ने बताई है, और अगले कुछ सालों में शायद ही कोई इस तरह की फिल्म बनाएगा कश्मीर पे. बहुत अच्छी बात आप लोगों की बातें. ये पहली बार आपने कहा कि कश्मीर फिल्म आपको कैसा लगा, डर नहीं लगा या समथिंग? राइट. आई जस्ट वांट टू नो व्हाई इन द नेम ऑफ कश्मीर वी ऑल रिएक्ट. बिकॉज we react because of some conflict, something. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as a film. मुझे जब स्क्रिप्ट आई मैंने पढ़ा, it is not only about Kashmiri Pandit, it's about humanity. Right.
It is about the moderate Muslims, it's about Sikhs, it's about Christians, it's about Hindus, all been affected by this. And I give credit to Vivek for one thing, that his study, he's always been very well read person. इतना पढ़ा है, इतना रिसर्च करता है. जब मैंने पढ़ा तो मैंने मतलब पहले ही कहा था कि देख, यू वांट मी टू दैट, आई वांट यू टू बी पार्ट ऑफ दिस फिल्म. इन्होंने एक कहानी लिखी जिसमें उसने जान दी है, प्राण दिया है. हम एक्टर्स, हम उसको पढ़े, हम उस करेक्टर को हमने जान दी. अभी मेरा यहाँ आना, ये सफ़र इनके साथ करना, कि मैं चाहता हूँ कि ऑडियंस इस पिक्चर को देखे और उन लोगों की जिम्मेदारी है वो कितना प्राण डालते हैं इसमें. आई टोल्ड यू, आई एम एन एक्टर. जब डायरेक्टर मुझे सुनाते हैं, मैं सुनता हूँ, आई परफॉर्म, मैं प्राण डालता हूँ. जैसे मैंने कहा, मेरा काम है आप तक पहुँचाना
जी,
और उसके बाद मुझे देखना कि आप लोग सब जो फिल्म देखेंगे उसमें कितना प्राण डालते हैं, क्योंकि आपके ऊपर ही डिपेंड करता है कि हाउ मच वी सक्सेसफुल वी आर. हैव वी रीच्ड योर हार्ट और वी हैवंट रीच्ड योर हार्ट. मेरा इसमें जैसे ताशकंद फाइल मैंने की थी, किरदार की बात करें, आई हैव ए, you can call it a very just a special appearance kind of thing, but the character is very interesting, very dramatical moments are there. But because of Vivek, because I understand by Vivek, I think आप मुझे जो भी समझना है समझ. I think मेरे भारत का one of the best directors मैं उसको मानता हूँ. मैं
very nice.
इतना पढ़ाई है इसकी, इतनी इसकी मेहनत है, हर चीज़ को छोटी. ऐसे जैसे पल्लवी ने कहा ना, आप पिक्चर देखेंगे आपको लगेगा कि ये डायलॉग आप कहीं सुन चुके हैं, किसी ना किसी लीडर ने ऐसा कहा होगा. इसने कोई बना के नहीं लिखा है. He is bringing you the truth in front of you. सच्चाई को आपके सामने आके खड़ा कर देगा. और मुझे देखना आप कितना प्राण डालते हैं, क्योंकि इस प्राण के ऊपर ही निर्भर करता है. The Kashmir Files is justified of.
And now time to say goodbye from today's Vision of Asia Voice of Community. But before that, time also to recollect, you can stay tuned to special programs of ITV Gold on our Facebook page. Be your friends there, as well as subscribe to ITV Gold's YouTube channel and keep writing events at itvgold.com. Stay safe, stay well, take care. Happy Holi. This is Ashok Vyas. Namaste.